He has good abilities to scale with size, to scale with speed, can put out a lot of chip damage. He's just very flexible, right? So I think that's why Drew is opting for it. But the other thing is Drew, at least from my experience, didn't play that much Rasmus in the previous season. And even when I was with him on PLX, he didn't play that much Rasmus. So I'm interested to see how he'll actually pilot this.
Of course, there's been an entire offseason for these players to figure out some other things, play in solo queue, come on right back into things. And we'll see where this one goes as we load into our first game right here, right now. Also worth noting, of course, Grimella has incredible playmaking potential on this now. It'll be good to see him reprise that role as well as we get right underway. Everyone selecting stacks on stacks here for the opening away.
Yeah, I mean, everyone going stacks on stacks, no one wanting to be left behind in that speed war. And an awkward strike means that Fudgy almost takes his own barrier, but does save it for the time being. This means that, yeah, Rapid Fire will be back in the pool. So I'm excited to see what this Now or this Aimi or even any of the goalies can do with it if they get it.
We'll see. Of course, not having picked it up the first time probably means you're not particularly worried about it. Beautiful Tofu Fortress. My goodness! Scyther 12. Look, we're just getting warmed up. Come on, man.
KO them indeed. Honestly, I'm speechless after seeing that, right? The double flip off and the Atlas Ult doesn't even save them. That was just brutal. And, well, we'll see if Bun Bun can continue to replicate plays like that or if maybe Bang Bang wants to strike back. But for the first thing that they need to do is they need to level up. And, yeah, there they go. They take over to level 2, but that's at the cost of 2 barriers.
Bunn Bunn Bonanza is a team that has consistently been better than the sum of their parts, I think, as a lot would say. And a lot of it is because of how tight some of their playmaking potential as a team has been. That play sets up with Lilybun dropping that Tofu Fortress right away. And then Scyther is able to take care of the rest, especially with an energy burst to his name. Liare is there to provide additional support as well. So the fact that they're able to play together and they are such a tight-knit group in addition makes it that much easier for them to make those kinds of plays, look for each other on the passes. They know exactly what each other is looking for, and they'll be able to take care of it from there. Now, though, of course, open goal gates on both sides. Errant energy burst out of Liari as Grimella's in pursuit. Drew pulls it back with a death touch. Goes slightly too fast for him as we've kicked over to overtime. And it's back down to this bottom corner. Scyther now finds the dribble, sends it up to the top side. Liari there, trying to lock it down with the Firewall Sentry, but Core will get away and back over to the blue side of the pitch. Drew, opportunity here as that proximity drone continues to grow. Lilybun will drop down at Tofu Fortress, and now it goes right behind Fudgy Waffles. Finds an incredible angle off the corner, and that's the second goal for the Bunn Bunn Bonanza.
Yeah, I mean, the end of that point, that was just really a game of margins, right? It's not just Fudgy, right? There are a lot of other times where I would see members on both sides just barely being out of position and missing a strike, right? And any of those strikes could have changed the fate of this point, really. And we saw that in the end, right? With Fudgy not being in the correct position and just missing out on that, that's what resulted in the goal. And now Flip dipped.
But Drew's going to find a KO regardless, and will open up a power play opportunity. Also, Scyther next on the chopping block here has to play very much towards the middle, but no, actually, never mind. Grimella finds a KO onto Lilybun. Have to tighten up some of those plays here if you want to continue competing. And NASL, it is week 1, but even still, there's potential for things to get out of hand if you keep making those kinds of mistakes. Fudgy will get it around Scyther. Now Grimella trying to close in on this barrier with Drew. It'll still go behind him. Grimella does have an energy burst at the ready, but now another KO comes through. Liari caught too close to the side. Grimella and Drew back and forth. Grimella has the energy burst, but doesn't have to use it for that point. It'll go in, and the Fluffy Bangers will be on the board.
Yeah, I mean, the Fluffy Banger is taking all those KOs that point, and then the sick passing play at the end, right? Grimella and Drew have been playing together for quite a bit. I mean, not as long as Fudgy and Drew, of course, but we kind of see, right, just how much synergy that they have with one another. It's similar with Bang Bang, or sorry, similar with Bun Bun, right, where they have that synergy.
Yeah, and I think one of the differences, too, is obviously all three of these a lot of our teams, of course, are sticking together with the same rosters, and that can help build that level of synergy and maintain it season to season as they start dusting off the keyboards, getting right back into practicing, as many teams probably don't do a ton of right before the first week in the season, but even still, they'll only go upwards from here in terms of skill, and it's one of the reasons that our previous casters, Cloak and Lego Mage, were talking about this being potentially one of the closest seasons we've seen yet, if not the closest, just given by the level of skill, given by how folks have been improving. Now, of course, with the off-season circuit, there might be something to be said for those teams that qualified potentially having a little bit more practice at a higher stakes match, whereas some of the teams that are just returning may not necessarily have had that luxury. Lilybun, nice save on the energy burst before it goes out. Nice little quick passing play, gets it right up to Scyther, and he finds the opposite corner. So the Bunn Bunn Bonanza take the first set here, but a lot of game left to be played. Again, this series went the distance in both games last season during the regular season. We'll see if this one goes, but the fight or flight pickup for Scyther here could be huge to make more of those dribbling plays happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's that fight or flight, right? Really going to be good for Scyther. And as I said, right, Rasmus Kazan, his signature picks, well, he can kind of emulate that with the fight or flight, but on the opposite side, there's a Catalyst, right? Catalyst going over, Super Surge going over. That's just really good energy generation for the Rasmus, and then good damage, right? The now can actually start pumping out damage and start matching the damage of the Aimi. And then two sparks, you know, going to both goalies, and then the prime time on Aimi, right? More core control.
Only one spark remains. That's the Spark of Focus. So won't see a ton there, but of course...
Resil as well, I believe. Or
no, Resil was in the last draft.
Okay.
That was in the last one, yeah. So that one just won't get picked up. That was one of the most interesting things, but you can see just how much Lilybun is valuing speed. Being third pick in that last draft, there being 3 sparks online in it, and she still goes for the 1 speed awakening in the draft. Any little bit helps, especially when you're trying to keep as tight of a triangle like the Bunn Bunn Bonanza likes to do. They play this core control style, right? And they'll find the KOs when they need to, including that one versus Grimella. Scyther tries to pick it up, but it's going to get knocked around here by Fudgy. The Ariel will try to take it herself with some of those abilities as well, but Lilybun moved up so far. This Tofu Fortress creates so much pressure. Even still, it'll dissipate for now as Scyther drops back. Lilybun does have an energy burst here, and might see the Bunn Bunn Bonanza go on an offensive again. They'll lose one barrier, though. No.
No, Fudgy.
Oh, no.
Fudgy was playing that point so well, and then he night marketed it.
Well, you know. Happens to the best of us. As proof there. Good news, though, of course. Winning in the energy economy right now. Both Fudgy and Drew have energy bursts ready, but not anymore. Lilybun will use hers to clear Drew away, and Scyther almost picks up KO'd onto Fudgy. Was close, and we'll be hoping for a little bit of extra power come later in this game. The Arya almost picks away a barrier, but the defense will hold for the Fluffy Bangers at this moment. There's another drone out. This one drifts back to the midfield line. Barrier, Scyther, maybe on the dribble. No, intercepted by Grimella. And it's back on the blue side of the pitch. Here comes the Whiplash out of Drew, able to pick that one up. Open goal gates on both sides. Fudgy still has his burst. Will use it here to get it out of Fiery Flurry and waits out for the dash out of Scyther as well. He's now staggered. Could be in trouble. Has to play towards the center. Grimella will pick up the core. Lilybun starts to come forward, but Liari's got her covered on the top side. Energy burst both online. There's one Tofu Fortress. Ow, there, it'll meet the drone there on the bottom side. That was confusing even just to figure out where the core was going to go in the first place. But Grimella loves those kinds of moments and will capitalize on them.
Yeah, I really like what Lilybun and Liari were trying to do there on the defense, right? Just continuing to pass it until they find that perfect angle. Because the flip at first from Drew did not score it, right? So they had the chance to keep it alive. But unfortunately, in the end, right, it's just, it came down to Grimella, and then he found it. But I think one other thing I also want to comment on is I just really love how proactive Lily and Liari are with all their abilities, especially this Tofu Fortress, right? Lily just drops it when she's like, okay, a play will be happening soon. She just wants to ensure that it goes in. She doesn't want to take any chances.
And for that reason, I have loved Lily Bunn on this Dubu pick for a long while. I mean, we're talking basically since the game's release. She's been playing this striker and has been playing it to such a high level and playing it to that proactivity that you're talking about. Not being afraid to walk forward. And of course, that's the thesis of the Ice Skates Dubu. All the meanwhile, though, open goal gates both sides. Here comes Grimella closing in, and the drone will win the strike war versus Lily Bunn. Fluffy Bangers 1 point away from getting a set on the board.
Yeah, I mean, a funny little side note, though, is that actually both brawlers are higher level than both midfielders, right? Albeit just by a little bit for Fluffy Bangers. That was certainly one of the flips of all time. We don't talk about it. But, hey, maybe Fluffy Bangers can turn this point around.
Not the flip again. I was, the first time Fudgy did that, I was like, oh, well, at least he didn't flip it into that, and then it hits back, and Scyther comes up with it yet again, looks for the top side. Fudgy doesn't have the speed to get there, and we're equal here. It's a 0.5 and set 2.
Yeah, we're going the distance, right? Talked about it last time. It's happening once again, right? Fluffy Bangers unable to kind of close that point out, and whoa, what a clear out by Lily Bunn. I guess Drew really wanted to try for that for that double barrier. Fortunately, doesn't get it. And, well, with 2 flips for Bun Bun, this is looking really scary for the Fluffy Bangers.
Not if Drew has anything to say about it, though. He'll take 1 barrier. Not afraid. Some little energy burst. Scyther goes for the double. It'll get defended away, but now Lily Bunn gets KO'd. Liari has to use the flip, stalls for time, actually hits it around the middle there, which actually helped them quite a bit. Again, just kick those precious seconds off the clock of this power play. Grimella takes a shot. Lily Bunn's back online, and the barrier will be saved. The effective power play has been neutralized. Scyther now trying to move forward. Finds the punch, but both Fudgy and Grimella are back. Now multiple abilities exchanged. Scyther still has his energy burst, though. Strike shot comes into play. Tries to get this one away, but you can tell just how closely the Bunn Bunn Bonanza are playing together. Trying to drop back and still have enough coverage across the map. There's the Tofu Fortress, used slightly defensively this time, but it'll slip around. And at least dissuade Drew and Grimella from moving up that time. Overtime, once again, Scyther finds the KO, finds the barrier. Fudgy can't react in time, and Liari tries to assist with the Firewall Sentry, looking for something on the top side. Just waiting for the right time to cyber swipe in. Finds it there, but can't quite get it in. Scyther threads the needle to get the goal. 2 sets up now for Bunn Bunn Bonanza.
Yeah, I mean, we saw an insane defense come out there by Fluffy Bangers, but unfortunately not enough, right? Fudgy actually burned that flip a little early, thinking that the shot was coming right for him, whereas the dash punch actually just came down to curl Grimella, and, well, now Scyther's going to be getting a 1-2 punch, right? This 1-2 punch allows him to fish for even more kills, right? So now he has both sides, right? The core control and now the damage. The extra special being denied away from the Dubu is also pretty big, and then the team player, right, for Atlas. Amazing.
Yeah, hopefully Fudgy can try to clear this one upfield and try to get this one around the Bun Bun Bonanza that much quicker with that team player. The one thing I want to comment on, Lily Bunn, more speed. Spark of Focus pickup means extra agility as well there, so we'll come away with even more, and I don't know what the answer right now is for the Fluffy Bangers. Grimella did pick up Timeless Creator, which is something, at least for these drones. Can play a role, but feels like stylistically right now, the tighter crew playing the core control is working. And I feel like it's going to be hard for this roster to try to find their KOs right now to try to mitigate that pressure. Although, as I say that, Scyther is low, has to try to evade, and now gets sent away by the strike shot. Beautiful combo there for the team as Grimella will walk through the donuts. Drew back down to Grimella, shoots it forward, and there's the drone again. Grimella's so good at putting those ones away, timing things just right. But again, gonna need to see a lot more of that, and gonna need to see 3 in 1 set, because we haven't yet.
Okay, there's so much to unpack, right? first, I kind of wanted to mention this earlier. There were a lot of times where Fluffy Bangers really weren't playing as much as a team as I was hoping for them to. And right there, that pass play, amazing. The other thing, that the setup for that strike shot kill was actually a hook from Drew, bouncing them off that perfect angle there. And well, I didn't get much of a chance to talk as, Bun Bun just scores that right then and there.
All good. Liari's got that energy burst. Go ahead and continue. You've got a point.
Yeah, I mean, if Fluffy Bangers can continue to show their team play, then maybe they can start to come back. And well, it's not looking great as that flip is burned and they lose a barrier for it.
Scyther's got another energy burst here as well. Drew tries to come away with something, but it has been near impossible for Drew to 1v2 Liari and Lilybun as they stand in front of their own barriers. Now Liari back on the other side of the pitch. Expanse burned early. Here's the energy burst. It finds a KO, and then Scyther scoops up the core with the strike. We're on game point for the Bunn Bunn Bonanza.
Hey, that's fight or flight. Come in clutch there, right? He gets the stagger, gets the kill, gets the dash back, and then that's that goal, right? Now, Bun Bun Bonanza, poised, take this game one. This is Bang Bang's map, so it's not particularly ideal if they lose this here, right? We'd be going to Atlas Lab after this if Bun Bun takes this win. But yeah, flips on both goalies. How do you see this going?
Well, we'll have to see. It's going to depend on who can make a play first, right? Is it going to be Scyther, who's been coming in clutch when the Bun Bun Bonanza has gone forward, or will it be Grimella on the other side? Actually, never mind. Drew's going to pick up both barriers there, mind gaming Lilybun in the process.
Ooh.
All good. She's got her energy burst, as does Fudgy, but here comes Drew closing in very quickly. Scyther tries to get a little bit of extra damage while Lilybun will send it back away. Scyther scoops up a KO here as well. Drew on the fadeaway core strike, but not going to happen there. Scyther will get denied by Fudgy. There's the expanse. It'll find its mark this time. Drew doesn't have the speed again. And Scyther finds the angle. The Bonanza in a 3-0 sweep are looking on top of their game today.
Yeah, I mean, Bun Bun Bonanza looking amazing. Way cleaner than some of our up-and-coming teams like Sad Boys and Demons Raw. But I want to see, if we'll go to a game 5 again, right? Or sorry, set 5 again, like last season, right? I love both Bang Bang and Bun Bun Bonanza. It's really fun to watch them face off, just because of the players there. Yeah, we'll have to see kind of how if Fluffy Bangers can adapt on AtLab, right? That's kind of what I want to see.
That was Fluffy Banger's map pick in Night Market. Not able to come away with what they really wanted. And again, I think, this kind of composition, right, on a team composition frame, you are trying to out-heal damage with 2 healers on your team. You're trying to play the core control, stay alive for long enough. But really, Drew made some plays here or there, but didn't have the full playmaking potential of other players who you might expect to see on Erasmus, right?
Yes.
And so I think that's evident, by the way. Grimella scored 3 of the goals of the Bangers. It was his drones to be the things that put things away. So either you need to put Drew on a striker where he can do a little bit more playmaking, or you need to try to find a pivot, go for something a little bit more KO heavy or something that can cause more shenanigans in general. Fudgy, I know, has been known to go over to something like a Juno goalie. That could be potentially good and could deny that pick away from Liari on the other side. But in addition, where was the Kazan in the last draft? Apparently, Drew didn't want that striker, right? Despite the fact that that was the striker he was most known for last season. We'll see whether or not that comes out here. Because it could be a different story and could shake things up. But even still, it's going to be real difficult to try to challenge and contest the Bun Bun Bonanza, because this is the same team that has made deep runs in NASL before, and they are really showing that they are close to the peak of their game right here in this match today.
Yeah, I think the other thing I also want to see from Fluffy Bangers is just, I want to see Fudgy and Grimella kind of stall out these kind of conversions to offense a little bit more so that Grimella can get into a position where he is able to go back and forth between himself and Drew in order to get those goals, right? Because that's where we saw a lot of Fluffy Banger's goals. It was when Grimella was actually up and able to support Drew, right? Because Drew can't really 1v2 that a lot of the time, especially on Rasmus, right? And we're getting into our next match, right? Hotshot, Super Surge. Estelle already banned away from Bun Bun.
Already banned away, of course. Bang Bang gets the blue side pick here, so they'll get first selection overall. Be curious to see where that goes. There's a Centauro banned away from Drew, another striker that he's been known to play in the past. And the Juno is first picked here. I expect that is probably going goalie. It could maybe go over to Grimella, but I kind of doubt that. It's sticking with the Imi here, most likely. Actually, that could go either to Lily or Liari, I suppose.
Yeah.
I have to imagine it's most likely to stick with Liari because I don't see Bun Bun changing up things significantly. I'm guessing they're probably debating whether or not they pick the Brawler here to try to limit Drew's pool a little bit more or just offer something else. No, okay. Liari will take away Gramella's now instead. And so now we'll see an interesting response here from the Fluffy
Kai.
Bangers. Probably, I mean, Kai Kazan looks okay here.
Ooh. Wait, this is just Grimella Juno, right? I've actually not been familiar with Grimella's Juno, right? I've always known, Fudgy to be the Juno player of that team. And, well, it looks like we are going to be seeing Grimella on the Juno. And Atlas Rasmus coming in, right? Drew opting for this Rasmus again. I think Rasmus is a little bit better on this map, right? Compared to Night Market. Because it is a little bit more open, especially when you break that middle, like, black hole. So it does opt for a little bit more core control at times. But then there's the Asher, right? The Asher for Scyther. It's going to be pretty tough to defend against that, especially with an Imi backing it up.
You say that the Scyther for Drew could be, or Scyther for Drew, Rasmus for Drew. the striker might as well be synonymous with his name. I guess perhaps that's the other point of logic, is trying to pick it away from Scyther, who can execute incredibly well on this striker. But even still, right? Where's the trade-off that you're making? Maybe you're picking someone else's comfort striker for something you are not nearly as comfortable on and might not have the same level of playmaking potential. We'll see whether or not Drew can come on back in this game. I'm really hoping to see some more out of him. Obviously, the odds were against him in the last game, given by the fact that he was up against a Dubu and oftentimes a defensive Liari as well. But here, of course, up against Imi in the goal box. We'll see what ends up happening here as we load into game 2. Atlas's Lab. This is the Bun Bun Bonanza pick. It'll be Fudgy and Grimella going hotshot and 4 sodas for the rest of the crew.
Yeah, I mean, Imi goalie, right? This is going to be definitely interesting, right? Because Lily Bun has piloted this a ton, right? So it's not something that we're really strangers to. But again, it's still part of that duo that is Imi Asher, right? And ooh, what a great glitch pop to save that there. But now we have to see, right? Is this hotshot Juno going to be enough to overcome what happened to them last game?
Well, we'll see. I think there's a possibility, for Grimella to have a little bit more playmaking potential on something like a Juno compared to a Now. Of course, it's just a matter of comfort, because those slimes coming out will be helpful in winning some of those strike wars. On the flip side of that, you're giving up a lot of empowering your brawler, empowering with that extra speed, and having some larger hitboxes on some of the drones that can linger for a while longer. Firewall Sentry does not save the day, and the barrier will drop. Drew closing in on the Whiplash, throws out the Death Touch, but the core goes right around it. Now still stuck in the corner here. Grimella and Drew, slight miscommunication there as they both overlap for a second. Going back to the core, and that allows Bunn Bunn Bonanza to capitalize. They go right back to the other side. Scyther dribbles off the expanse. Fudgy barely finds the goal line save. Liari has an energy burst, and it'll send it back down to that bottom side. But again, that play begins with the slight mistake of Grimella and Drew both dropping back to meet the core at the top of the goal box, and catastrophe ensues.
Yeah. Do you see 3 flips having to be burned, right, for the Bun Bun Bonanza, right? They do get the goal off of it. Is that even worth it, right? with Drew being on death's door, having to burn the flip both defensively and trying to get that barrier. I don't know. It's really sketchy.
Even still, they'll find goal barriers here. Drew low on stagger. Fudgy's got his own, and now Drew gets sent away by the gravity well. Will pull Liari back, and Liari will be staggered now. Core goes to the bottom side. Gurmela's there with a slime to send it in.
Yeah, I mean, Gurmela's showing that, hey, maybe he's not new to the Juno, right? Maybe he has some of this experience, and Fluffy Bangers took this offseason perfecting some more pocket picks for them.
Perhaps the case. 2 energy bursts online. Liari will come away with a goal barrier. There's the Blobos coming in for Gurmela. They don't stick around very long. But everything will be maintained for now. The thing, of course, with Atlas's lab, especially when the gravity well is down, much more open of a map, which could potentially play to the strengths of Bun Bun, but by the same token also provides more options for Gurmela to get involved rather than have those walls in the way. It has potential more options for Scyther to find unique angles with the death touch, like that one right there is going to be able to find the spacing to find the KO. So to your point, some potential here on Atlas's lap now, and as we get more comfortable, and now Fluffy Bangers take maybe their second lead in a game this series.
Yeah, I mean, taking the lead is exactly what they need, right? And already being poised to take one barrier. A little awkward flip does get the barrier in the end. I think he wanted to go for a potential double barrier take there for Drew. Doesn't find the second barrier, and a combo attempt actually is stuffed by the members of Bun Bun, right? Just great overall defense by them.
Great defense, but oh no, strike comes out just a little bit late. Drew has to try to close in, but everyone from the Bunn Bunn Bonanza gets in his way. Scyther has an energy burst, but now Core still finds Drew. He sends it to the bottom corner, and first set on the board for the Fluffy Bangers.
Yeah, first set on the board for Fluffy Bangers. Drew being the MVP. What's he rewarded with? Potentially a big fish, right? Big fish, built diff, both exist here. Could opt for maybe spark scaling even, right? Those are options, or just deny them on you, right? I don't know. This is a very tough decision, and just doesn't offer any of it, right? Stacks, which I completely missed, right? Speed is amazing on Rasmus, right? It does suck that you are missing out on both size options here, but there's still Rampage later on. And, well, the Imi getting extra special and the Rapid Fire going away from the Juno, those are some things that maybe Fluffy Bangers aren't really happy about.
Also, Spark Watch, 1 spark in the last draft. That goes to Scyther. We'll see whether or not he can become the mayor. Worth noting that while there might not be elections for mayor of Sparkington City, there are elections coming up for those of you living in the United States of America. This is your PSA, mid-Omega Strikers, to go vote. That is all I will say
Go
on
vote
the topic.
if you want your voice to be heard.
But now, a little bit of a neutral gain here as we open the second set. Liari sends this one down to the bottom corner. Gurmela tries to get in the way with these slimes, and goal barrier is saved for now. Drew doesn't look like he's got any cooldowns to have an influence on the core. They'll keep having this interaction here. Gurmela tries to get in the way here, but Scyther is continuing to bully him. Finds the KO right there, and will try to go for the penalty kill here. Scyther now looking for the dribble. Fudgy, though, does have that expanse, but the energy barrier will be taken all the same. And now goal barrier on the other side as well, as Gurmela comes back online. Possession of the core to the Bangers. Gurmela now down to Drew. Gurmela pops up, tries to keep this one in possession here for Fluffy. Drew maybe looking for the pass to himself there off the death touch. Fudgy will send it away with the expanse. Does have an energy burst here. Even still, now gets it back up. Gurmela, nice Balabo bounce on the defense. Perfect timing as well, as that Blabo could have been eaten by the energy burst, was not, and nets a goal. Something completely unexpected.
Yeah, you rarely get to see that, right, where that Blabo does actually defend the flip, right? Some other really cool things that happened there, right? Oh my god, Fudgy almost getting murked. but they do get both barriers. Fudgy actually, with the Monu secondary, that's what saved that goal from going in a little earlier in favor of Bun Bun, right? So I think this Monu pickup is going to continue to be pretty big for Fudgy.
Drew, nice little put away there. Passing play, it gets everyone involved for the fluffy bangers as Grimella keeps it in the corner, and Drew will send it away. Now, unfortunate thing for Drew here, of course, right, is that 2 Size Awakenings were in the last draft. He did not get either of them. Instead, opted for the speed. Now, of course, though, could see him get MVP here again. There's possibility, but now with the KO, a little bit less likely. His power play opportunity, but even still, Grimella keeps the pressure up. Fudgy tries to move up with him, and now could be in a dangerous situation. Liari looking for Scyther. Path Splitter is out. There's the Expanse, slightly larger. We'll keep the core away from the goal barrier for just a little while longer. Now Grimella up to Drew, looking for something here as Lily will pop the Firewall Sentry. Goes right around the gravity well. Lily Bunn misses the energy burst, and Grimella punishes. 2 sets now for the fluffy bangers. They're looking to respond to game 1 in kind.
Yeah, I mean, with a 3-0, I'm sure they're feeling great. And with an Egoist on the board, I'm sure they're feeling amazing, right? Now, let's see if Grimella does actually opt for it. Maybe he wants something like the Unstoppable or Spark Deny. Also, the Knife's Edge instead. Great option, right? Because you want to have even more speed, right? You have speed on your Brawler already. Get more speed on the Juno, right? Second Spark for Scyther, right? Only Spark of Strength remaining. And the Egoist ends up falling all the way down to Liari. And the Rampage being taken away. No more Size.
No more Size in the pool. Scyther will be forced to settle with some extra cooldowns, I guess. Doesn't really like that. Maybe you can go faster with the Whiplash, I suppose, when that comes up, you know, 1 second earlier than it would otherwise. Scyther, though, closing in on the barrier all the same. Can't find it as it gets sent away. And once again, very neutral here to start off this next set. Grimella leaps in. Lilybun will send it away. The Coral drifts slowly back to the blue side of the pitch. Meanwhile, Grimella gets KO'd off the gravity well. Lilybun will stall for a second. Power play opportunity. Scyther tries to slip it past Fudgy, but Fudgy will make it back in time. And the passing is tried to be kept up here. Grimella will stuff it into the corner. Finds the goal barrier. Now, Drew. Oh, unfortunate bounce. He was getting in position, but just couldn't come away with it. Now has to use the energy burst just to stay alive. And the opportunity might have been missed there to come away with a goal. Overtime now as the court goes back to the other side. Liari tries to keep this one up. Lilybun forward with the Firewall Sentry. Everything committed for this last goal barrier. They'll find it. Scyther's going to get pulled back with the Death Touch. Now the core's going to go flying. Gravity well explodes. There's Lilybun cyber swiping in. And what did I say? There it is. Bunn Bunn Bonanza will stay strong in some of these points. And if they can hold on for long enough, they will have opportunities.
Yeah, that intercept was quite beautiful, right? And one thing I also want to talk about, right? This is from the very first draft, right? Where Grimella ended up picking up Big Fish, right? But one thing that I love on Juno is having exactly at least one Size Awakening. It just feels like it's a nice kind of middle point.
Now, down to the bottom side. Grimella will keep it here. Liari and Lilybun both back. There's the cyber swipe, though. Nice pass up to Scyther. And the Bonanza are coming back. They're doing their little party thing. It's a Bonanza.
Yeah, the Bonanza seem to be pretty happy with how this third set is going so far. Now, ooh, the Sad Boys angle, we find it, and it seems to be safe for the time being, and Liari looking pretty low. Not ideal for Bun Bun, but there's that lifeline. It just heals her right back up, and the flip being used almost gets that barrier, but it is saved away.
Bun Bun Bonanza seems to have found themselves in these last 2 points. Staying alive and capitalizing on the opportunities that are presented. There's the Firewall Sentry. There's the continuing and mounting pressure that they're able to provide. It nets them their first set, and they could come roaring back in this second game. Lily Bunn will get her pick of the litter up first, and might not be any additional dash, but perhaps goes for Twin Drive here for that extra presence that you can have with an additional cooldown. And the 1-2 punch denial, also worth noting here as well.
Yeah, the Twin Drive, not only does it double as extra, I guess, positional capability, but also deny, right, away from Atlas. The Fight or Flight going over to Asher, great pickup. The Juno does end up with a Deadeye. This means that you're still going to go to Red Core so much if you position correctly.
You consider the Deadeye, Knife's Edge, Hotshot. Grimella can send this core absolutely flying at Mach speeds. And that is something that Bunn Bunn Bonanza has to be afraid of, as Grimella has been just as much of a goal threat as Drew has been so far in this set. The one thing that Grimella doesn't have right now, though, is a Dash Awakening. Doesn't have that extra presence that sometimes players like. Strike War lost by Fudgy, won by Lily Bunn. She'll send it away, and they'll put one more goal on the board. A decent drought now for the Fluffy Bangers. That is, they're down 0-4 in the last 4 goals.
Yeah, being down 0-4 is not where you want to be, especially when they're taking another barrier, and Scyther is poised to maybe take the second at this point.
Mega Striker is just as much a mental game as anything else. Cannot let this get to you right now if you are the Fluffy Bangers. Have to hold on, continue finding those opportunities, and not letting Lily Bunn get away with more of these cyber swipes. Grimella up to the top side. Looking for something else. Fudgy trying to find Drew again. Grimella, by the way, almost had 2 energy bars there. Will be burning one of them, and now Fudgy will send the core flying. Lily Bunn can't get back in time. Saw the opportunity, takes it himself. Still has energy burst as well. And suddenly, the drought is snapped, but got a lot of ways to go here, even if it's only 2 goals.
And after it all, right, Drew tries to burn that flip to kill Scyther, who has a flip of his own, but unsuccessfully doesn't. Fudgy has this flip in case he needs it, but he might have needed it there as Scyther gets that, and then the flip, where does it go? There's nowhere it can!
Beautiful coverage from Bunn Bunn Bonanza. Fudgy just sits there like, what do you want me to do with this? And now, all of a sudden, once again, set point. Bunn Bunn Bonanza can send us to set 5, trying to close out the series early. We'll see whether or not they're able to, as Gravity Well spawns right in. That damages both Grimella and Drew, whereas Scyther doesn't really mind either way. Means that the forwards here might not have the most offensive presence, but they're going to find the goal barriers anyway, and the core still goes flying past Lily Bunn again. And while she might have the opportunity to go in more, that also means there are more opportunities to punish her for doing so. Fudgy has found a couple of them as the core has just slipped by at incredibly high speeds, and all of a sudden, we're on game point.
Hey, you mentioned the forwards not having offensive presence. Well, why does that matter, right? When you have a goalie who has offensive presence, most notably the Atlas goalie.
Sad Boy's angle converted into a power play now, as the Fluffy Bangers will be looking to take this game away. Blabo doesn't quite get to the core there. Scyther comes back in. Liari back online. Drew tries to take care of business. Will opt for a back pass here. Grimella keeps it forward. There's the energy burst. It gets stuffed away, but Liari's low on stagger. Has to be careful, but Drew doesn't have a lot of abilities right now. Maybe Grimella will have to try to get in there and look for a KO, but the Firewall Sentry cooldown is burned. Seems like everything's been burned there. And now Grimella finds the barrier with a Blabo, sending it once again at the red core speed. Overtime now as it goes past Lily Bunn again, and Grimella finds it once more. We are going to a game 3.
Hey, the hit stun into the redirect. Perfect. out by Grimella. And, well, taking us to game 3, it's going to be a banger, all right? No pun intended, as we go to Clarion Test Chamber.
How about that? We have seen 3 game 3s in the first 3 matches of the North American Strikers League. Everybody getting involved once again for the Fluffy Bangers in the goal scoring slot. Now, the question is, how do you want to take this heading into the next striker select? Because that seemed to work pretty well. Grimella denying away the Juno, picking it up for himself, and still had enough presence to take care of it. Fudgy holding it down whatever he wants to play. And they're probably expecting this Rasmus to be picked away from Scyther, but then again, depending on how side selection goes here, depending on who gets what side, I would even consider, I mean, if you're red side here, probably ban the Rasmus, frankly, if you're the Baggers. You don't want to play that. You want to get Drew on something else that he might be more comfortable on, and don't let Scyther play it either. That worked in your favor here. Maybe it'll be a Juliet first pick or something, but even still, you have options heading into this next draft. So does Bunn Bunn Bonanza. It'll be interesting to see what we come away with here.
Yeah, the Rasmus ban sounds pretty ideal, but bear in mind, this is Clarion Test Chamber. Julie is a pretty solid pick here, and I don't think Scyther would mind having that over the Rasmus, although he probably would prefer this Rasmus. I'm wondering where Drus Kazan, though, still is. I want to see if he does grab it here, or if he does opt for that Rasmus again. But the thing to mention about the Grimella Juno, we've had 3 games of Juno today and 3 hotshot games of Juno today, all on hotshot starts. I don't think that'll be coming out again unless, we miraculously see a 4th hotshot start. Hey, it could happen. We love John Odyssey. And I think this is Bun Bun on blue side. I could be wrong. That means that you won't be able to have the Rasmus ban into taking away another pick from Scyther or something along those lines. We'll have to see how this draft shakes up once the Awakenings are revealed.
We will see very soon. Again,
Big Fish Missile.
Big Fish Missile. Okay. And Bun Bun is on blue side. So what the Fluffy Bangers will have to do here, it is worth noting, right? Fluffy Bangers, I talk about all of this because I think they have attempted to identify, we pick away the Rasmus, and if we pick away the Juno, like obviously in that case, great. Here, they're probably the game plan is pick the Rasmus away. I think they should change that heading into this next one. If I were them, just given the way this series has gone, obviously it worked out somewhat for them in the last one, but even still, those goals were not exactly scored by Drew on the Rasmus, right? They were scored in no small part by something else. Obviously, it's Bunn Bunn Bonanza who will make actually the adaptation and maybe reading my mind, taking away the Kazan as this first pick here. Despite the fact that they could have picked that themselves. We've seen Scyther pop off on Kazan on more than one occasion. But interesting to see where this continues to unfold, especially on a Big Fish start. It's a Dubu ban and the Atlas locked in the first pick. Fudgy, you're going to have to find another goalie.
Yeah, Fudgy's been playing 2 games of Atlas. Won't get it on 3rd because Dubu's a great goalie on Missile Prop start. So is Atlas. And with Dubu gone, there's that Atlas. The Estelle getting picked up probably for Grimella. Could still be for Fudgy. Now, one thing I do want to talk about is it is a Missile Prop start. We could see a Luna, right? I know Fudgy plays Luna. I know Liari and Lilybun both, or sorry, Liari mainly and Scyther play Luna, right? We could see a Luna go into any of these hands.
I don't think these teams are playing Luna. Call me crazy, but something tells me they're not very damage-oriented teams. They want to play the game that they know how to play, not the one where it's unload all of our cooldowns across the map on our opponents. It's the Estelle and Juliet red side locks, and there is the Rasmus locked in for Scyther. We've seen him be a playmaker here. Drew now on the Juliet. Well, let's watch these 2 former rookie brawlers, now of course returning veterans, and who's going to be able to pop off the most.
And hey, when you don't have the Atlas, you can hop over to the Mako, right? Another one of those, I'll just sit behind, help you guys do your thing, and just do your thing, right? That one of those sorts of picks. And with the Estelle and Drew opting for the Julie, one of his big comfort picks, actually. And I think a great example of this is back last season where I think Bang Bang, as they were back then, ended up reverse sweeping Bozo Bunch on this Julie. And we'll get a chance to see if Drew will achieve some similar highs in this game.
We will see as Game 3 is about to get underway. The Mako is locked in last for Fudgy, presumably. I mean, we can't imagine where else that would go right now in this. And the IME picked all 3 times by Bunn Bunn Bonanza. Obviously, this is a striker that has been incredibly strong for quite some time. Also, getting word from Twitch chat that it is Fudgy's birthday, potentially. So happy birthday, Fudgy, or happy close to birthday, Fudgy, whatever the case is. How better to spend your birthday than playing a competitive game of Omega Strikers?
Hey, according to Westcord, it is also Fudgy's birthday. So happy birthday, Fudgy.
We're not going to get the whole staff in. That was like a season 3 thing.
Yeah. No, not this time. We have a game to play.
Not this time. We're mid series. We'll get into this one in just a moment as we queue, and we're getting into this one. Yeah, gonna be interesting, of course, to watch how this unfolds. Grimella on a 3rd unique champion here on this Estelle now, compared to the now that has been played before. And we'll see where this one goes. This one is Game 3 for all the marbles. And these 2 teams are 2 teams that have been in the playoffs before. And in a season that could be as close as this, having this win over someone you expect to be right there with you towards the end can be critical. I know it's early to start thinking about playoffs, but this can be a pretty consequential tiebreaker.
Yeah, and Missile Pop being opted for by only the goalies, everyone else going Big Fish, is going to be fun to see how these size interactions happen. Now, one other thing I do want to point out is we have Mag Souls on Drew, right? He's opting to not go for the Pummelers or Slicks and instead the Mags. He wants to play a little bit more of a core control style and doesn't want to be out of position as much as he can be.
We'll see whether or not that will hand to his favor as he picks up the Project Maelstrom orb first. We'll go as this goes. And go from there. Drew now picks up the core. There's the Fiery Flurry as well. Grimella almost gets KO'd to Scyther's Cyber Swipe. And Fudgy with a perfect pitch. Worth noting, of course, Strike Shot plus Missile Propulsion means that Mako's abilities are going to go to the opposite side of the map. That includes the ultimate with the Ensnare Drums, which can cause some shenanigans and make Mako be more of an offensive goalie, even if she normally wouldn't be considered one. We don't see it there. Instead, nice passing play in overtime between Grimella and Drew. The Fluffy Bangers will get goal 1.
Yeah, I really like that passing play, and especially just how Grimella was using the little center triangles to mix up Lilybun. It was honestly refreshing to see, and there's the Ensnare Drums stuffing that flip. Scyther's looking really low with no energy to work with too, so I want to see if Fluffy Bangers do choose to finish him off here.
Scyther now dipped into the Obscura Goo and will get sent away. That's 1 KO. Liari's been a little low as well and hasn't had a lot of energy either. Now is close to having 1 evade, but doesn't quite yet. Grimella, though, has a full meter. Lilybun will be forced to use hers to get that core away, and now another KO found, but this time it's Bunn Bunn Bonanza. Scyther takes away Grimella. Liari rather low. Lilybun tries to get involved in the strike shot. Drew looking for the KO, but the Celestial Intervention is used in order to stop that from happening. Overtime now. Drew finds the KO once more versus Scyther, and the goal gates will open up. As now Lilybun has to work with that. Atlas in an open goal. Not the situation you want to see particularly, but then again, I suppose neither of these strikers are. Strike shot used by Lilybun, trying to keep control of where this can go up to the top corner. Perfect pitch, almost intercepts the pass, but it doesn't quite get there in time. Grimella taken low. Liari looking for the KO, but is too far forward. Not dropped back to play defense, and the core will slip past Lilybun.
Yeah, it slipped past. I think that was actually just a really good strike war out by Drew that beats that primary there, and that's what ended up sending it in. But the other thing I want to call attention to is that was an amazing clear there on the defense by Grimella, finding that angle right around the members of Bun Bun and around his own barriers, keeping it up. Just props to him.
Props to him indeed. Grimella, very much a known playmaker. There's the punch from Drew, gets the barrier. Fudgy finds the bounce house. Awkward angle. Lilybun has to flip it. Afraid of Drew closing in on the Juliet, presumably with his his cooldowns up, even still. There's the strike shot missed by Fudgy. Scyther looks to try to capitalize on it here. Pendulum swing doesn't quite come out in time. And snare drums trap Lilybun in the goal box on the other side. She'll get away though before the core comes her way. Rose warping forward is Grimella and finds the piercing shot right thereafter. 3-0 is the score of this first one for the Fluffy Bangers. We'll see whether or not they can close it out here, or if we'll start to see things take effect. Now, most notably, Scyther drafts basically only speed and only size. We'll see which one he opts for here if he's given the choice of it, which I assume he likely will, given by just how many good awakenings are on the board for Brawlers.
Yeah, and doesn't opt for either of them. Opts for the spark scaling because the fight or flight and build different are denied from him. This means the Estelle does get hot shot, but a timeless goes over to Aimee, and well, we skipped over it, right? The Atlas twin drive. I feel like this is a pretty even draft, but maybe slightly favored towards Bun Bun.
I feel like there's a potential for Bun Buns to scale even more in the future, whereas the power spike happens now for the Fluffy Bangers, especially with Drew picking up the fight or flight. Although, that said, is low on stagger right now, has to be playing incredibly carefully, and will play close to the middle. Scyther tries to pick up the core. Here's Liari continuing to knock Drew around. There is the death touch and the pendulum swing to send him away. And Scyther will pick up the goal barrier there as well. Nice. That lingering projection will actually send the core back and keep it in this corner. Drew back online. And now Scyther slips away, nearly knocked off the map, but just in the perfect position to use his energy burst. Looking forward again. Here's Liari trying to find Scyther down, but we haven't seen that many more passing plays out of the Bunn Bunn Bonanza as of late. Liari now up to Scyther. Pull it down with the death touch. Can't quite find it as the clear angle is wide open on the bottom side. Here's Scyther again, and they'll find the pendulum swing. Perfect reaction to snipe that one away.
Yeah, I think the funny thing is that if Fudgy didn't have the size, he might have been in a position where he could just not get hit by that pendulum swing. Unfortunately, he is big enough, but I don't think he's kicking himself too much for that, considering size is still great otherwise, especially in strike warring this Rasmus, which with size would be quite a nightmare to deal with.
Energy burst online. Scyther waits it out. Patient and is rewarded with the goal barrier. Lilybun now forced to use the energy burst as Grimella's in position. Drew almost comes up with a punch. Won't find it, but the goal barrier will still fall. Larry does have an energy burst. I imagine is waiting to use it on the offensive side, but now the expanse comes out, takes away that second barrier for Lily. Now forced to play even more defensively. Can't quite get very much involved. And that finds the demon angle. Drew, credited with the goal, will send it in, and we're equal in set 2.
I mean, it's twice it's happened, right? Twice that the Fluffy Bangers use that middle astral, or I guess expanse, to just destroy the minds of Bun Bun, right? Getting first the barrier and then the goal, right? Off that flip. It's just a masterclass on that map from them.
perfect pitch will interrupt things, and we'll find a goal barrier again. Offensive presence from a goalie is huge here, and Fudgy's been able to provide it more than Lilybun has across the board. Because the second those goal barriers go up, Lilybun is forced to stay back. Doesn't have the same tools as a Dubu might on a closed map such as Night Market, or even on the closure provided by the Project Xenocloak here. Goal barriers, though, down on the other side. Liari tries to swipe in, but Drew goes invisible in the cloak. Liari will keep it for now, and there is Drew. There he is, just saving it for the right time in the right place. He'll come flying in, and we'll get the goal here. Set point once again for the Fluffy Bangers.
I almost forgot that Juliet could KO just because of how much Drew was doing a lot of these core control style plays, and it's worked for them so far, so I mean, no fault to him really. But they do lose that first barrier. Let's see if the Fluffy Bangers can kind of turn this back, or if Bun Bun will run away with this entire suck.
Looking for it again here. There's that projection, comes up just a little bit shy. Nice glitch pop from Liari, gets it forward to Scyther, who takes the goal barrier. There's a goal barrier, now a second taken. Here's the energy burst, and Drew will send it home. Well done by him, and that makes one more set for the Fluffy Bangers to take their first match away.
Yeah, finding the sweet spot for the timing between, you know, when that when those barriers open and when the projection or expanse comes out. Amazing by Drew. And, well, Fudgy, first pick again. I think he's going to wait and see what he can give over to Grimella. No, opts for the Spark, right? Deny away from Scyther. Pretty solid, but Scyther still gets this stacks, right? Another deny out of Grimella, right? It's just denies all around, right?
Denies quite a bit. Of course, couple of useful things, I suppose, are the pickup here of the rapid fire for Liari has had a couple of consequential glitch pops, especially in some of those last couple of points, and now potentially have more of them. And as you mentioned, Scyther picking up that speed is not going to be something that will be an easy dismissal as that starts scaling later and later on into the set. Plus, with the extra stagger provided by the Spark of Resilience, might not be a lot, but in theory would be able to live more, not unless you get caught off the side there. As Drew closes in, power play opportunity for the Fluffy Bangers. Grimella reads Liari's or Lilybun's clear incorrectly, excuse me, but even still, they keep possession. Now it goes past Grimella, stunned by the projection. And it'll find the side of the map as it keeps getting trapped there for a while longer. Scyther almost KO'd again, but it'll stay alive for now. And it goes right back forward. Still closed goal gates here as we hit overtime.
I think the one awkward thing is the fact that since Drew does have this prime time, it does allow him to go for more of these core control-y plays, but it does mean that it is a little harder to find these KOs, especially when you don't have pummelers either, right? You kind of have to think a lot more about these KO angles and kind of get used to a different level. And well, we almost saw that hit stun there bringing it in, but a great flip out by Lilybun saves it for now.
Now, back to the other side. Fudgy does have an energy burst. Not necessarily just a sitting duck. Scyther can't come away with it. Core flying. Now it gets sent away by Fudgy's energy burst. Here comes Liari flipping into the side street. Grimella tries to send it away. Nice interruption from Liari onto Drew, and now the projection sends it back the other way. Goes behind Fudgy. He'll be patient for a second. Scyther waiting in the wings. That'll win the strike war to take the goal away.
Yeah, two really unfortunate misclears out by Fudgy, right? First, taking his own barrier, and then not able to find that right past Scyther, but I'd say the second one is a little more excusable in that Scyther just positioned really well.
Now, one goal barrier, once again, taken away by Scyther, forced into the ensnare drums for a second by Fudgy, but takes a second even still with the whiplash. Scyther has come online. Here's the energy burst, and there's the goal, waiting and waiting for what felt like an eternity, but still had the empowered strike after the core flip, and he'll find it, put it away. It's 2-0 up now for the Bunn Bunn Bonanza in set 3.
Hey, maybe now Scyther has finally evolved, right? He's figured out his way of winning this game. Getting both of those first 2 points, I think. Now, that is one barrier. That is the second barrier. The size actually coming out from the drum and bass is what secures it there. And that's one on the opposite side. It's going to be a little tough for Fluffy Bangers to close this out with how the offense of Bun Bun is looking, though.
Everything getting dumped towards Scyther right now. He's taken down incredibly low, and oh man, you think your position's just perfectly, and then the core just comes slowly drifting right by. Hate to see that one if you're Lily Bun, but every goalie gets their one, and
exactly.
Might be plenty more, although even still could capitalize yet again. It's a 3rd point on Project Expanse, which, as you mentioned earlier, Ether, a map or an alteration that the Fluffy Bangers seem to have figured out. Will Scyther be able to respond in kind? Not quite with the rest of the Bunn Bunn Bonanza. So far behind. Liari almost close, but again, no power on Drew's Juliet. Pendulum Swing comes up shy. Drop back. There's the expansion again. Actually, 2 expanses now out. There's the Celestial Intervention. Core will find the top side of the pitch. Lily Bun keeps it forward for a second. Here's the expanse again. She'll send it down to Liari. Here's the glitch pop. Looks for Scyther once more. But even still on this map, Bun Bun has not been able to play the same tight core control game they've liked to have played so far. Energy Burst, double committed there for them. Won't have it on the offensive side until Scyther gets his in just a moment, but no, gets denied and taken out by Drew. Expanse is used. The core is on the other side of it, which is huge for Bun Bun. Here comes the Fluffy Bangers in pursuit. Very close there. The Crystallized Thorns, good points with stacks on stacks getting taken away from Scyther. He'll be low on speed and might not be able to capitalize on some of the plays that he would be otherwise. There is the strike shot forward to Drew, who wins the strike war again and sends the Fluffy Bangers to match point.
And as I said, right, it's the stacks. Stacks are gone. That means that Scyther has to figure out a way to build it up in a matter of 1 point.
We'll need to do just that. Of course, only sitting at 18 right now. There's a long way to go on the Rasmus. Grimella burns his energy burst there to the bottom side, as all of the sudden the pressure is mounted in this game. Fudgy loses both barriers there, can't come up with it on the strike shot. Does have an energy burst to try to save it should it go back his direction. Scyther tries to pick it up. Grimella drops back right in the way. Here's Drew sliding in, finds that goal barrier. Match point for the Fluffy Bangers, and their goal is open right now. They look for it. Here's the ensnare drums. Come up just a little bit short. Scyther with the death touch. Looks for that side. I think it was a good read. But Fudgy waits patiently. Now uses his own energy burst. There's the dash punch combination that just doesn't have enough power. But Scyther puts it away. It guarantees at least another set.
Kind of shocked there that that drum and bass didn't catch it. Didn't get that bounce off in order to get Fudgy the ball. Does sneak by, but well played out by Scyther and could be rewarded for it, right? There's a spark. Spark of speed. He's really going to be eyeing that. But if you give up that spark of speed, there's an egoist on the other side that could fall over to any of the members of Fluffy Bangers.
I actually saw Rampage and was convinced that he was going to go for that. But no, you're right. Opts for the spark here, which will give him a little more resilience to protect the stacks and picks up that extra speed as well. Meanwhile, though, to your point, Drew picks up that egoist. We've seen him start coming online with some more dash punches, and now with the dash punch flip combination, could be looking for something a little more. Other thing worth noting, Grimella, larger presence, picking up that super surge with that Rose Warp. Will have just a little bit more presence on the map, but now Lilybud is gone, KO'd by the what I think were the Crystallized Thorns of Grimella, and it's a power play opportunity. Liari has to try to hold, or Scyther has to remember those old goalie days. Strike Wars, one right now for the Fluffy Bangers for them to keep possession. Lilybud back online, and he'll hold the line for now. No, it's back to the other side, though. Fudgy will take away one barrier, won't find it. Back to the neutral side. Expanse used in the middle. Scyther and Liari in a line. They try to find their connection once more. Here's the pendulum swing. It'll find a gold barrier, but Drew drops back, has that energy burst. Immediately burns it. Liari now up to the top side, and Grimella Rose warps in to find it.
He has to be so precise with that, because if you saw, he's inside like the Atlas and the Rasmus, so making sure that that projectile hits is quite tough. Now, we do have this Ensnare Drums opening up the point for Fudgy Waffles. Does lose the barrier for it, but 2 flips on the side of Fluffy Bangers.
Now a KO. Drew taken off this time. And while their other 2 members might have flips, there's more strikers on the pitch for the Bun Bun Bonanza. They keep possession for now. Fudgy will be forced to burn his to keep a goal barrier alive. But even still, possession maintained for the Bun Bun Bonanza by and large. There's Liari. Finds a weird interaction with the core, but comes away with it. Keeps it up here now in the red goal box. And Snare Drums coming out. They don't find a connection. And the Cyber Swipe up to the top side. Scyther has his energy burst, likely looking to save it for the actual goal itself. As the core goes back to the other side, Grimella uses his own. Scyther does have this energy burst here, still doesn't use it to try to find this goal barrier. Now we'll try to find it. Oh no, the angle comes up just shy and forces Lilybun to use her own. We're in overtime now as the core keeps flying. Every point feels like it matters this much. In a Game 3 scenario, Drew comes up with the energy burst, point blank, will put it away, and now has to find the goal. Scyther in the side, and almost comes away with it, but Fudgy's able to react in time. Liari now down to Scyther again. Grimella gets in the way once, but can't do it a second time. Scyther threads the needle again, and will put it home.
Yeah, threads the needle. Perfect angle between Fudgy, between Grimella. They had a really good defense going on there, perfectly layering their strikes, but one trickle went through, and, well, that was the goal.
Fudgy has to wait patiently, giving away one barrier, but now Drew picks up both on the other side. Scyther looks for the second, as Liari keeps up the pass. Liari playing much closer to Scyther now, playing for the offensive side of the pitch. Lilybun gets it back down to Liari. Can't find it there. Now it goes past everybody there on the top side. Drew almost comes away with it, but a beautiful strike or win from Liari keeps the goal out. Scyther now has a little bit of room to work with. Grimella gets in the way once again with the Rose Warp, but it's not enough to keep the core away from this Rasmus. Drew now, again, looking for the Fiery Flurry. Does have the Egoist speed. Will pop it here. Weird angle, and almost comes away with something towards the net. But Lilybun will have the time to send it away. Scyther doesn't have quite the same level of speed right now, and neither does Lily. It goes past her, and we're on match point for the Fluffy Bangers.
Yeah, and as a quick stock check, right? Liari has 4 Rampage, Scyther has full stacks. So if Fluffy Bangers want to guarantee things in case it does go to a 0.5, they might want to look for a KO, but hey, maybe they're just saying, we're not letting this go to a 0.5. We're going to end it right here.
We'll see where this goes now on the bounce house, as everything has gone so much faster. So too will the core in this point, and now both goal barriers already taken away by Bun Bun Bonanza. Scyther looks for the dribble to himself, can't find it. Ignites Expanse burned here, keeps the core out for just a moment, but Drew somehow still finds the angle. Grimella starts closing in. Liari finds it clear off the bounce house. Well done by her to somehow dig that thing out, but it doesn't matter. This one's so close too. Lilybun will keep it away. Now Fudgy has a turn on the energy burst and will send it away. Core keeps going back and forth. Here's the energy burst up to Liari. Off the bounce house. Scyther's not there. Pulls back with the death touch. That can't quite react in time, and the stun comes through with the pendulum swing. Finally covers all of his bases, and it's another goal 5.
Wow, what a cinematic goal. I was at the edge of my seat. I had no idea where that was going, and just great plays all around. But as you can see, the energy is low for everyone, which means that this final point might not be decided by an energy burst.
Well, it might if it's Drew's, who would get a little bit of extra speed off of it beforehand. Lilybun moved up, though, incredibly aggressively. Grimella now taken down. Power play opportunity. Here's the glitch pop as Liari tries to set something up, but no, Fudgy will hold there. And he'll keep the core away for now. But no, Liari strikes it right in. After all the cooldowns were used, Scyther almost comes away with a pendulum swing and now goes past Lily Bunn, but it doesn't find the goal barrier. She pushes it away with a projection, burns the expanse, and suddenly Drew's in pursuit again. Here's the drum and bass speed, but no, can't close into the core, and now it's offense on the other side. Scyther almost finds the core, but Grimella rose warps forward again. Piercing shot out. Won't find its mark. Drew now flies in on the Flying Phoenix. Looking for something more here. Open goal gates both sides. Match point for the Fluffy Bangers again. Drew up to the top side. Lily Bunn has to play patiently. Scyther's not there. Does have energy burst here. Might opt to use it. Uses it point blank, and we're going to a set 5.
We're going to a set 5, and I think one thing that really did wonders for Bun Bun there, especially while Grimella was respawning, was the rampage for Liari. She had 8 stacks, so making sure that she could continue to keep that offense going is exactly what she wants, and exactly what Scyther wants is that spark of strength. That's 3 sparks now for him if he picks it up.
Presumably is going to. Yep, there it is. Catalyst, though, also online. Drew is last in this draft, but Grimella's going to pick it up first. Worth noting there, the knife's edge, maybe from Liari, could play a role in terms of finding a couple more of these KOs, which sometimes have opened up opportunities for those goal barriers. But Drew picking up the perfect form, not something you're afraid of on the Juliet. Everyone walks away with something that they're not actually that mad about. And the unstoppable out of Fudgy might help the pendulum swing defense.
But bear in mind, look at this. Scyther has 164 power. He is going to be hitting hard.
We'll see whether or not he can hit hard when it matters most. And after the unstoppable is taken away. But Drew comes in on the Flying Phoenix again. Will pick up a goal barrier for the trouble. Now Liari taken away by the piercing shot of Grimella. Power play opportunity. Lily Bunn has to send it down that way, which is a very dangerous game to play. The crystallized thorns will come out, and the rose warp for good measure puts that goal away. Grimella knew that goal had to go in.
Yeah, opting to not just go for a simple pass play, it's a very smart idea, right? Just letting Drew stall it, set up the expanse, and then go for an even more guaranteed play.
Scyther trapped on the other side. Here comes the energy burst out of Drew. Good expanse reaction onto Lily. There's the second expanse burned as well. So cooldown timer is ticking. Glitch pop used. Fudgy will keep it away. Wow. Scyther pulls it back, and Fudgy burns his energy burst. Goal barrier is open now. On the side of the Fluffy Banger, Scyther closing in. There's the whiplash. Grimella tries to strike it away, but is not there in time and cannot clear it past Scyther. We're still tied.
I mean, Scyther does it all. He was basically 1v3ing that, right? Because Liari had taken so much damage, she was out of the play, and Lily Bunn's just back there as a poor old Atlas. Scyther, on that offense, secures the barrier and the goal. An amazing play out of the Bun Bun Brawler.
Piercing shot from Grimella comes up clutch again. We'll find one goal barrier. Now energy burst burn from him. Point blank. Drew hit it a little bit too early. I think it bounced off the retracting goal gates. Back to the other side of the pitch. The core will go. Death touch pulled back. Scyther in position. There's the whiplash. Now open on both sides. Who's going to get the breaking goal and send it to match point? There's the Rose Warp forward again from Grimella. Drew in position. Now slight miscommunication as Grimella pulls up the piercing shot. Wasn't expecting to get right back to him. And now Lily comes up with the pass to Scyther. It's match point for Bun Bun.
Yeah, I don't know if that was so much of a miscommunication as it was a slight missed angle out by Drew. I think the idea actually was to bounce it off that top barrier and then put it in position for the piercing shot to secure. But unfortunately, it means that Bun Bun do get their second goal of this set, and that's match point, right? But Drew has this flip. He has something he wants to say here.
Uses it there, waits out the expanse. Will find one, but not the second, as he was aimed up to do. Now Scyther down to the bottom side. Projectile doesn't come out. Fudgy has to panic, strikes it away, sends it right up the middle of the pitch. Who's going to come away with the close Week 1 victory on these two teams that we would all expect will be close to one another making playoffs potentially towards the end of the season. Seeding might play a role here. Who gets losers, who gets winners, or who makes it at all might be determined by this one. There's a nice ensnare drums as Scyther comes up with it. But no, it gets sent away. Defense holds for now. Drew, energy burst at the ready. Here's the egoist speed. There it is. Now waits out. Learned from his mistake the first time, but the expanse is used and now picks it right up. Decisive goal is up next.
Yeah, it almost looked really bad for the Fluffy Bangers, but then that second flip out by Grimella, Drew recognizing his job just on the goalie, and well, he secures it there.
Has to secure one more goal though. Grimella rose warps in. 1 goal barrier taken on both sides of the pitch. Here's Liari with the firewall sentry. Tries to keep this one online, but Scyther met with both Grimella and Fudgy. Here's the Project Maelstrom orb. There's the ensnare drums bouncing around. Not able to get it back away. Piercing shot is taken. Grimella is low, but all the meanwhile, Goldberry taken on the other side of the pitch. Drew has the energy burst. There's the expanse. Burn, but the perfect pitch comes up to take the goal. It's the Fluffy Bangers that hold on in the nail biter.
Yeah, Fudgy Waffles taking aim and then calling out bang as he delivers that perfect pitch.
What a game, as they've been thus far this season. Scyther comes up with 9 goals to send us to that decisive one. But it wasn't enough to come away with it. Drew found a little bit more of himself as the brawler offensively here on the Juliet. Comes away with 7 goals. KOs started to rack up there quite a little bit as well. But how close was that across the board? Both these teams looking pretty good once they find their precise win objective.
Yeah, very stressful, I'd imagine, for both teams. And as you said, both teams would have loved to pick this up because they are expected to be somewhat close to one another in the standings by the end if all goes as expected. But in the end, Fluffy Bangers come out on top. And I'm excited to see how this next season goes for both of these teams.
We will see, as again, it is predicted that this season will be incredibly close. And all 3 have gone to 3 games thus far, of course. Week 1, always the potential for different jitters happening and the like, but even still, these matches will remain close. The question will be whether or not the next match will be just as close, as the returning Showtime brings up the returning veterans of Return to Form. They make their NASL premiere in just a moment. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back with that next match on the other side of this break.